after my last video where I shared about how I broke into HR and did my CIPM and got admitted into CIPM and did my entire exam, I think I got like a lot of questions from people regarding like how I did the entire thing from start to finish. So this video is going to be addressing all of that. My OGs, my new Gs, my incoming Gs, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I feel like it's been ages since I filmed this intro because for the last sit-down videos that I did, I batch filmed and I edited, and then I think I put out like 2 vlogs for my best friend's wedding since then. So I haven't really done a proper sit-down video. So I really missed you guys, and I really miss saying this. I know even if I've been on YouTube, but like I miss saying this. And I've decided that I need to be like, I want to put out like more YouTube content. So I'm going to put out videos twice a week. This is me putting it out there. Hold me accountable, hold my neck if you see me and I don't have video. Let me say, just Rachel, where's the video? Where's our video? Where's our video? Where's our video? Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the matter. If you're thinking about getting into HR in Nigeria, or you're considering writing CIPM, wondering how to go about it, stick around and find out. If you're not considering any of these things, but you want to hear gist, or you like to hear gist, or you're having lunch, you're having breakfast, you're having dinner, I need something to munch on, this video is for you. I decided I wanted to do HR in 2020. This was like COVID. I was working for an essential service place, so I didn't stop working. I was working and all of that, and then I decided I wanted to do HR, right? So I started taking courses. One of my mentors had helped me get a course on preparing to manage human resources on Coursera for free for 6 months. So I was taking the courses. I was really enjoying the courses. So don't get me wrong, like I was really enjoying the courses. However, I realized that the course was tailored to the United States. So it was for the US market because it was done by the University of Minnesota and it didn't have like Nigerian element. And that's how my quest for actually getting a course that has to do with like Nigerian market, labor laws and all of that got me started. So I did my research. I saw that CIPM is the body for regulating HR in Nigeria, and I said, okay, nice to have. This was 2020. I didn't really do anything about it till 2021. In between 2020 and 2021, I've been like doing like light research. I got into tailoring at a point. I was learning how to sew, and then I went to serve. So during my service year, I saw that with CIPM, if you apply as a copper with your PPA, what your call-up letter and all of that, you get a discount for applying an admission letter. So I was like, okay, why not? I'm already serving. So in July of, I think in June of 20, no, in July of 2021, I created an account. I applied. I uploaded like all the documents that they need from me, right? And then I was waiting for admission. Typically, they said admission will take like 2 weeks maximum. Like usually can take like 3 days. They review all your documents. I applied, and then I was waiting for this institute to get back to me and say, oh, this is next step. And I didn't hear back for them. I think 3 weeks, almost like 1 month later. In between all of these things, I had gotten their number online. A couple of people had said that, oh, you should be calling them. I called and called. Whenever I would get anybody who would respond to me, most times they'll be like, oh, don't worry, it's being worked on. But it was taking so long. So finally, I called and I got somebody that eventually answered me. I was like, oh, what documents did you upload? I told her my BSc, my statement of result, because I didn't have my certificate at the time. My statement of result, my NYSC letter and all of that. She was like, oh, did you upload your WAEC result? I said no. Because in my head, I thought that if I had a bachelor's degree, it makes sense for you to assume I have a WAEC certificate because you need a WAEC certificate to get a bachelor's degree. Well, that's what I thought. Apparently, that's not how it works. And she was like, oh, I need to cancel my application and upload my WAEC result because if they even answer me eventually, they will not put me in intermediate 1, they will put me in foundation 2. CIPM has 6 levels, so foundation 1 and 2, intermediate 1 and 2, professional 1 and 2. If you take the exams, or depending on where you start from, when you're done professional 2 exams, that's when you can now get inducted into the institute. One thing about CIPM is that based on what you study is what you're going to be admitted on. So if you have a bachelor's degree in a science course, you get placed in intermediate 1. If you have a bachelor's degree in a management or a social science course, you get placed in intermediate 2. If you have a master's degree in anything, you start from professional 1. I didn't have a master's degree. My BSc was in a science course. So I already knew I was going to place in intermediate 1, right? So I didn't know that. I was like, but I have a BSc. It's like, oh no, let me just go and upload my WAEC result. So I went back to the portal, I'll cancel my first application, uploaded my WAEC result, and then I was like, okay, let me see what will happen. And then I think in less than 5 days, they go back to me with my admission letter into the institute. Because I was a copper, I got a discounted application fee. It was around like 3,500 at the time. And then when I got accepted into the institute, because I was a copper as well, shout out to the federal government of Nigeria, because I was a copper as well, they subsidized my acceptance fee to like 5K. I think it used to be like 6.5 to 5K. So I paid that. And one of the things that you get access to is all the study packs on the website or on the platform. So I downloaded the study pack on my level and I started to like do like light studying. And then that year I decided that thinking back, I don't even know where I got money from because I wasn't allowed that I was paying CIPM exams. And then that year I decided that I wanted to take the first diet. So I took my first diet in term day one in November of 2021. So I admitted into any level, you pay an exemption fee for the level before. Now it won't be as up to the amount of exams that you take. So for instance, if foundation tools cost like maybe 40K or 35K to do the exams, all the exams, the exemption fee that I paid was around like 13K. Do you get? So I paid that in addition to the exam fee for in time day one. And then I think everything I paid that month was around like 40 something K. And the exam was going to be in November because it was COVID, right? The exam used to happen like twice a year, and because it was COVID, we now started moving to like computer-based testing and all of that. So I applied, and then at this point, I was working for my PPA was at the Federal University of Technology at Korea, Futa, the bursary unit. So I didn't have like a lot of work. The work wasn't intense. So what I did was I printed out all my study pack. I was in Futa at the time, so it was cheaper to do all of this printing in school. So I printed like all the study pack. I think it was like average like 1,000 to 1,500 for whatever I print for all of the documents that I printed. So I printed the four of them and I started to study. It was really a lot for me because again I was coming from a science background, and for intermediate one I did bookkeeping, I did accounting, I did business administration, and I did one other course like that was like very heavy. I think economics, yes, economics and statistics. That was like very heavy on calculations. All of these things that I've never really done before. I was now doing it. So I remember there was one course that I was reading. I don't know if it's the bookkeeping, the accounting. That was like 500 pages. It was big. But then I think because I wasn't working heavily at the time, it was quite easy for me. I traveled back to Benin to take my first exam. I did the first exam in November. I think by December, I think it was almost close to Christmas when these people dropped results. And then my result came out. I had passed all my papers for intermediate one. And I was very excited. Like I realized I have this thing where when I pass all my papers, I'm very gingered to do the next diet. I was like, let's go, let's do this. Because of COVID as well, the CIPM was not like, okay, since the exams are now virtual, I'm supposed to have like 2 diets in the year, which is the May and November. Let's have 4 diets in the year. So they introduced 4 diets in the year. It was going to be like every quarter. It was going to be every single quarter. So it was March, it was June, it was September, and it was December. So that was the diet that they introduced. So it means that it depends on where you are placed, right? You are placed from intermediate one, and you do 4 diets and pass all 4 diets in 1 year, you can get inducted in 1 year. But I didn't get inducted in 1 year. I didn't do that because I will explain as I go. So again, March of 2022, I registered for the March diet of 2022. I got my study pack again. This time around, I was in intermediate 2. I was now doing like more core HR related stuff. I was enjoying it. I took the diet. I was still I hadn't gotten a job yet, so I was working very light. So primarily what I was doing was studying, right? So I studied, wrote the diet in March 2022, and I passed all my papers. I was really, really excited. This was March of 2022. I was really excited. I was like, okay, I'm going to do the next diet. However, good thing, unfortunately, I got a job that required me to move in Ibadan in April. So I started working. I moved to Ibadan. I started working, and then I was settling in, trying to get a place, trying to get used to work and all of that. It was my first time officially working in the Nigerian market, trying to just get into the system. And I was like, oh, if I write an exam in June, I might not be able to pass all my papers. And I just didn't have the mental bandwidth to prepare for the professional one exam. And everybody that knows CIPM knows that professional one exam is the ghetto. Like professional one is the absolute ghetto. You're doing 5 courses, and back then I know that they've changed it now. We were doing operations research. Operations research is this statistics heavy course that people had to do, like it helped like your thinking and all of that. But now they've changed it to HR metrics and analytics, I think. But then it used to be operations research, and people used to have a reputation of failing OR. Like we would have people who would write exam, like they're passing only like on a passing streak and all of that, and then all of a sudden they get to OR and they fail. And I knew that I had stories of people who were writing OR for 5 times, like 5 different diets. and they just could not pass it. And I didn't want to risk it at all. So I didn't bother taking the exam that June. So I was working, and then I decided to take the one in September. So the one in September, I got prepared for it this time around because I already knew how terrible in quote OR was. I was studying OR like life depended on it, and I think it just brings me to the point where I don't think things are difficult like that. I think that the difficulty level depends on how well you are prepared for that thing, because of that preconceived notion and what everybody was saying. I was praying for OR like crazy. Like I found this guy on YouTube, this Abdul, I don't know, Abdurrahman or something. But like he was so good. Like he gave like I downloaded all his videos on YouTube. I had it on my laptop. I will have a piece of paper as he was talking. I was writing. As he was talking, I was writing. And then my exams came. I passed OR and I got a B. For context, if you get a P so there's P, there's C, there's B, there's if you get a P, a pass, you're happy because I just want to go, I just want to go. But like every time I tell people that I got a B, they'll be like, scholar, did you study statistics in school? And blah, blah, blah. I didn't. But because of that fear of failing it, I prepared for it so much that even other courses that I were like pretty easy, I didn't even get a B because I thought not my focus on this particular one. I did professional one, it was really good, it was really nice, and then I passed all my papers this time around. I think it was around like November. However, I got a job in November that was going to move me to Lagos the next year. So the next diet was going to be in March. I didn't really prepare for the diet because I moved to Lagos. Yeah, I remember why. I planned to write the diet in March of 2023, but I moved to Lagos, and Jesus, everybody knows that the chaos level from Ibadan to Lagos. In fact, I was in Akure, then I went to Benin, then I went to Ibadan, then I went to Lagos. The chaos level is increasing geometrically as you're going. And I was like, nah, I couldn't do this. I was working. I was living like pretty close to the island at the time, around Shomolu, and I was only going to work like hybrid a few days a week. But I just did not have the mental bandwidth. And work was actually very intense and it was very a lot. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do the March diet of 2023. I was going to do June diet of 2023. So I prepared for June diet. Again, work was chaotic. In all honesty, I didn't prepare well. I maybe underestimated a few courses and then I wrote my exams. This was now P2. After this one, I was going to get inducted to now P2. I wrote my exams and brothers and sisters, I did not pass AR. ARO is Advanced Employment Relations. It has like a lot of years, a lot of dates. I don't even think there's any excuse, particularly because I know that I didn't prepare as much as I should have for that course. Now, it was really crazy. That was my first time of failing exams. I remember that I wailed so much. I wailed because I didn't prepare on time. I just took like 3 days leave and then I tried to cram those 4 courses in that 3 days. It was it was a bad idea. And it was my first time failing a course in CIPM. So I felt so bad. I felt really terrible. I remember I was thinking that I'd taken leave from work to go and prepare for an exam. I knew that if I go back, they would ask me that have you seen your results? How did it go? And I didn't know how I was like I felt so much shame because again I don't fail exams. Like I felt so much shame. People are going to say that this girl doesn't know anything and all of I felt so bad. And then I know that one day I went to the office and my result was out. I was just sober and then I went to my VP's office then and my CEO, shout out to I think I've had like really, really amazing women in my lives, right? And then I was like, she was like, oh, how was the exam? And I was like, oh, it was okay, but I didn't pass one paper. And I was almost crying. I was like, I know why you're crying. I think my people were like, oh, what level was I in? I was like, oh, I was in P2. And she was out telling me about how she didn't pass. I think was it like she didn't pass one course and she had to write it like 2 times. Just basically encouraging me because I was this close to just wailing my eyes out because I was like, God. But they were like really, really nice about it. Just encouraging. I was like, it's not CIPM, don't worry. You will do it again. You can pass it and all. And then I took the next diet in. No, I think I do. I think I did in March. I've mixed up the timeline because I was inducted in August. So I did the June diet. The June diet was when I took my receipt paper. Yeah. Oh, I got the timeline right now. So I did take the exam in March of 2023. That was P2. I took P2 in March of 2023. I didn't take the December diet exactly. That's why I mixed it up. So I took the September diet for P1. I passed on my papers. There was a December diet, but I didn't take that December diet because I was moving to Lagos and all of that. So I did the next diet in March, which is where I didn't pass AR. And then I now we did AR in what's it called in June. This time I got a B, and I'm like, screw you, please take your B out of my face. I got a B. I passed on my papers eventually, I got the email for induction, and then I got inducted in August, and that's how I became CIPM certified. And after that, that's not where it ends. After that, I'm going to be paying dues. In case you're not aware, I'm going to be paying dues 50K every as an alumni of the institute or as an associate. You'll be paying like 15K per year. I don't think I've paid for the last 2 years. They always sending me email, but I should go and pay that because I will need it eventually. Yeah, and then I got inducted. My induction day, I was so sick. I got food poisoning during the week of induction. I didn't know I had food poisoning, but the day of my induction, I had been throwing up. I was sick. I was tired. Even when I got to the hall, I had to go to the toilet. My friend Osato had come from Abuja. She was in Lagos, so she went with me to the induction. She was the one who even helped me collect my certificate because I could not do anything. But that's so yeah, that's what my CIPM journey looks like. For people who have written their CIPM exams, I'd like to know what your experience has been so far in terms of writing your exams. Did you ace all your papers? Are you struggling with any? Which are your favorite? Which are not your favorite? Let me know in the comment section, and I will dive into the Q&A part of this thing. So I got like a lot of questions from my last video, and I didn't even know that a lot of people were looking for information on CIPM or HR in Nigeria, because I didn't expect the video to get that much like engagement. People had like a lot of questions. I'm still sending people like the links to the groups for like there's a general Telegram group that has like all people who have done CIPM, are doing CIPM, or will do CIPM. So I know I still owe a few people the link to that. I will get to it. It's just been a very, very chaotic couple of days, right? So I will get to that. But I got like a lot of questions, so I thought to just make a video to address all your questions and your concerns, and then we'll take it from there. Alrighty, let's dive right into it. Okay, I have my laptop here, so I'll just be looking at first question. Which PQ past questions did you use to study? Now, CIPM was very notorious for not giving past questions. I don't know if it has changed, but they are very, very notorious for not giving past questions, especially now that they moved to computer-based tests. The past questions that we had then was strictly when they were doing paper-based exams. It was like I think maybe 20 questions OVJ, and then the other questions were like theoretical questions where they had to like write. So we didn't have past questions. I remember that I struggled a lot to get what's it called? I struggled a lot to get past questions because one thing that I did that I didn't mention earlier was I didn't use any study center. I studied on my own. I self-studied on my own because I know when I just started in Akure, then I didn't have money for study center, and I don't think we even had study centers in Akure. Then when I started in when I moved to Ibadan, I think they had study center, but I didn't really look into it because I had studied for the first 2 diets by myself. And I passed, so I didn't think that I needed a study center. Then when I moved to Lagos, where there were like plethora of study centers, I could not afford it. I couldn't afford it in terms of money and in terms of time. And again, I'd done the self study for so long; it was working for me. I was like, why do I have to like add to my expenses, right? So we didn't have PQs. I'm so sorry. I wish I had like better answers for you. But CFM is very notorious for not giving past questions. If you see any past questions out there, it will be questions that people have compiled based on study materials, but they don't give official study questions. So you just have to study. So if you know you can't study on your own and it's hard, maybe try a study center. All of these study centers, they have like online options as well that you can do. But yeah, we didn't get to study. There was no PQ. Then this one is I'm currently working as a HR in an organization, and I really want to expand the career in the HR department. This is not particularly related to CIPM, but it's a HR question. So I think one of the things that worked for me when I was trying to build is to be very proactive and to gather knowledge first of all. Be very proactive, gather knowledge, and then pitch myself, right? Now, when I was working in a supermarket in 2020, I was working as a supervisor, supervising what's going on, sometimes you be on the cash register, but I had taken an interest in HR. So I was reading, I was learning, doing Nigerian labor laws. So what I did was I was always talking to my manager, but it was always supposed to be banned. So when we break a labor law or we've been president for 3 months, they don't have an offer letter. I didn't even have an offer letter. It was just a regular schmegular, like an SME, like a small business. So I would always say, oh, the law says I can't do this. My manager just indulged me. Shout out to Mr. Liko. He really just indulged me. However, when he now knew that this was something I was interested in, he started pulling me into interviews, like asking me to lead interviews. Like when we have people who have applied for jobs, we say, oh, yeah, come, I ask this person questions. I didn't know anything, but there's nothing that Google cannot teach you. So I'll compile questions, I'll ask them, like HR, I'll ask them, well, why do you want to get this job and all of that. And that was he just saw my fire for what I wanted to do, and he gave me room to fly, right? So I would always say that if you are looking to like build a career in HR and you're already in the HR department, my for you would be to do everything. Like, I know there are people who will be like, oh, it's not in my job description, and I'm like, I don't subscribe to that line of thinking, especially when you're just building out your career, because the way you learn fast, the fastest way to learn is by doing. So do everything. They call you for recruitment today, do it. They call you for L&D today, do it. If they say volunteer for like to do work, it's going to be crazy. It's going to. I can remember the first few times, like when I was like literally building early on. It's going to be. You're going to be like, who sent me? But trust me, trust me. Your future self 1 year, 2 years from now is going to thank you for the work that you did and the price that you paid. Like, volunteer for everything. Oh, learning and developing. Like, do a first shot, right? What I usually do when I have a project that I don't know, I haven't done before is I do research. Like, I research a lot. I researched on Google. Now there's even AI to give you a structure. There's videos to watch. Like, consume as much knowledge as you can, right? And then keep going and keep reading. I really wish you well. If you have any other questions, just let me know and I'll do my best to see how I can answer it for you. I started my HR journey this year, and getting internship placement and volunteer role hasn't been easy. I'd really appreciate if you can help me out. Thank you. This question is very, very dear to me because I know how much of a struggle it was to land a first HR role without HR experience, right? What you can do is you can volunteer for general organizations. Like, don't volunteer for HR because sometimes companies don't know they need HR. So even if you reach out and say you're volunteering to be a HR person, typically they have an operations person or a manager. They don't have a problem with their people management, or they think they don't have a problem with their people management. So I know that what they have is that you can link it to is community management. Be a community management volunteer. And then a volunteer coordinator. So I had a role there in a short stint that I did as a volunteer coordinator where you're coordinating other volunteers, their database management, recruiting other volunteers, usually HR, but because it's in a volunteer setting, right? So explore just being a volunteer first of all in any organization for any cause. Oh, I want to be a volunteer for this for your organization. What can I do? What do you need to do? Volunteer for them there, and then when you get in, you can now say, oh, I can see that we have other volunteers. Can I be their manager, just coordinating, or can I be their coordinator, coordinate their activities and all of that? That's how you get the experience that you need, right? And then for internship, I'm just keep pushing. You might not get a conventional internship. One of the internships that I first applied for, I didn't get it because she was like, oh, I was still serving, and she saw that I didn't have like enough HR experience, and I was still serving. That she did an outside role, and somebody with like a bit of HR experience. But she said that what she can do is she would let me work closely with her. So she gave me two profiles. Then thank you so much, Anne. I don't know, Anne is so pivotal to my story. She gave me two profiles there, like two JDs and two CVs, and she said these are the roles that she's looking for. I should go and headhunt talent for her on LinkedIn. And she might not even know, but that was the first time I was actually having to actively headhunt. I remember I went back, I got my LinkedIn premium, I got all of these things, and then I got some clients I gave to her, and they were good though. She said they were good. I don't know what I did. I was like, oh, this person is good, well done, and I kept in touch. The next time I got the next HR role that I got, she gave it to me because I don't know if it was we worked together, if that was even work, but like she just trusted that I'll be able to do what needed to be done in that job. Though I did an interview process, so I did interview, I did a case study assessment and all of that. But at the end of the day, I got access. So the internship might not just be in the way that you see it, right? It may be in you volunteering for a HR person to be their assistant. They will pass tasks to you. Now, in that case, because of confidentiality and all of that, and like non-disclosure, they can't pass everything to you. But things like equipment, maybe onboarding, like little things like that, they can pass to you. You can use it to learn and you can build your portfolio. Thank you for this video. I just registered with CIPM last month and I'm starting with intermediate one. Two twins. Can you connect me with like minds that we can study together? Thank you so much. I mentioned there are groups for CIPM. There's a group for CIPM that what's it called? People are all in like different, but I can't post that group publicly because it's a CIPM link, right? And I think like data privacy and all of that. So what I've been doing is send me a mail at the Osagie@gmail.com and I will send you the link via email. And then we also have like other study groups, but I exited those after I got my after I got inducted. But when you join the main group, you always see people who are posting, oh, they have this study group, they have that study group, join this study group, join that study group. You get it. Yeah. So I think that from there you can now spread out your branches and your tentacles. Alrighty. I want to start my CIPM course. Please, how do I start? I think I already addressed like the beginning part of this video addressed your question. First of all, you have to apply for admission to the institute. Submit all your documents. If you have a master's degree, submit your master's, a bachelor's, a YC. If you have a bachelor's degree, I think another thing I forgot to mention, like if you don't have a bachelor's degree, you can apply for CIPM. Like they're so like you can literally, it's like I can like can start from any stage. It's just that where you start. So if you have a YC certificate, you can start from like maybe foundation 1 or 2. You just have like more exams to do. But if you have time, you can do them, right? But like you don't have to have a bachelor's degree, right? Okay. So apply for admission, get admissions, apply for acceptance, register for an exam, write your exam, pass your exam, write the next one till you're done. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all my questions. I just discovered your channel and I've seen about 4 videos already. Oh, these are the people that I think of when I say my real G's, because they're watching all my videos, binge watching, sharing, liking, and commenting, and I love you. Okay? Thank you very much. If you have any more questions that you want me to answer or anything at all relating to HR, CIPM, let me know in the comments. I will do my best to answer all of these questions. If you watch it to this stage and you still haven't subscribed, I missed doing this, and you still haven't subscribed, are you a monetary spirit? I don't know what you're doing here, but you should probably hit the subscribe button, because I promise you I am so fun to watch, and that's on pride. I'm trying to be like more frequent and active on YouTube because things have changed. Some circumstances have changed in terms of like my commitment. I'll be sharing in another video, but yeah, so I think I have a bit more time to like put out more content. My goal is to get to like 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm currently at like 621, and it's so amazing because 621 of you, that's a lot. I don't know what I did to deserve that. It's a lie, I know what I did, but it's okay. Well, thank you guys so much. Please share with your family members if you have anybody who's interested in like HR writing CIPM or HR in Nigeria. Essentially, give them my page. I want to diversify my content. I want to do more lifestyle content, 95 lifestyle content, career content, personal growth development, everything in between. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, peace out. Love ya.